Hey everyone, Joe Workman here, and today I'm really excited to introduce you to the new seam stack. So I know you visited probably tons of websites that have these really interesting shapes and diagonal lines and curves and circles that kind of divide the content within a website, right? Really nice. And until now, it was kind of tricky to do this inside RapidWeaver. There wasn't any really simple way to do that. Well, I'm happy to say that that's exactly what Seams does. It's super easy to use, super fun, and you're gonna love it. So here we have a nice looking little demo website, right? It's nice, it's just kind of a run of the mill. It's not gonna win any huge design awards, but it's a decent looking page. However, if you notice, there's a lot of straight lines, hard edges in between every single section. So how can we take this existing web page and make it even better using Seams? This looks a lot nicer, doesn't it? You'll notice that Seams allows us to give this nice curvature to actually give you a nice transition between this impact stack and the content below. It's not just a harsh straight line that you see everywhere else on the web. Now, if we look at this area, we've done something a little bit different with Seams. Instead of it just having a way of transitioning between the two sections of content, Seams is actually floating behind the content to give us a completely different look. Now here in this example, we're overlaying multiple seam stacks to give us a really beautiful wave effect on top of this impact. So as you see, just by adding seams to this web page, it really makes a huge impact on the design. It's really transformed the website into something completely different, much more modern, and just a lot more fun. Now let's dive into RapidWeaver and see how easy Seams is to use. So here we are inside RapidWeaver, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a seam inside this blue section here that gives us a nice transition in between these three sections. So right now we're simply gonna add a seam stack to the page. Now I wanna make sure I add content to the bottom, and I also wanna have a seam on the bottom. So that gets us all set up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add this foundation column. Now I don't need the color in here since Seam takes care of that, so I'm gonna turn off the color there. And at the top, we're gonna add a seam. And you see here, we have a huge amount of seams that you can play with. I'm gonna go ahead and add an angle up at the top. And as you see here in the setting, we have a lot of controls to manipulate these angles in real time directly inside edit mode. Now I'm gonna wanna add a seam to the bottom. Let's go ahead and add a slant. And we wanna mirror this seam so that the blue part is on the top since we're on the bottom here. And as you see here, I can go ahead and edit this line to be exactly how I want it to look and feel. And if we see in preview, we're done. This Seams gives us a much more interesting look and feel to our websites than what we can do with just the default out-of-the-box stacks by breaking things up and not having straight lines all over the place. Now, there are so many things that we can do with the Seam stack. Here, I've changed this transition slightly so that we have two S-curves, one on the top and one on the bottom, to give us a completely different style. If we scroll down here, we're using the torn paper seams to give us a very interesting effect. Now, if you're ever doing a tribute website to Dracula, this is the exact theme and color combination that you're gonna want. And you'll notice here, this is a beautiful seam silhouette that we have of a grass area with some butterflies and some flowers. This is pretty amazing. Now, I'm sure you've checked out the Seams demo, which really showcases some beautiful ways of using seams. Here we've seen a couple ways of overlaying on top of images. Here we're actually taking things to an nth degree and really thinking outside the box. This entire landscape here is built using seams. The kind of abstract clouds and hills and the grass area and the sun, this entire landscape is built using Seam stack. Here we have angles going through a group of photos. And here's just a gallery of tons of different, and this isn't even all of the available options that we have, just to give you a small sample of the seams that are available to you. Now, I've heard back from initial testers of Seams that they say Seams is dangerous because they can't stop playing with it. It's just that much fun. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is actually, as you're adjusting all those sliders for seams, it's actually creating dynamically an inline SVG on the fly to use inside Seams. Now, this is important because that means your seams are going to be crystal clear and sharp across every device, and they'll scale beautifully across mobile, all the way to desktop so that the seam looks exactly how you would expect it to look on every device. So pick up a copy of Seams today and make sure that you share how you're jazzing up your website with Seams over on Weaverspace. We'll see you over there. Talk to you soon. Bye.